Day one, baby.
Day one.
To this day.
To this day. To this day.
To this day.
Motherfucking me, man. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Running from him. Your response. The floor is yours.
Why sit here and talk about it? Let's just meet in the ring and get it on. Talk is cheap now. I've done enough of that talking business. I'm a fighter, and that's why I want to handle my business. Deontay Wilder, when you're ready, come see me at a table. Don't come through your promoters and that no more. Come sit with me, man to man, across the table, and let's get this fight sorted. Then there's no pity-patty or who said, she said. It's me and him, man on mano. Hopefully, me and him can negotiate this fight ourselves.
Just as Anthony Joshua issued out that call out to Deontay Wilder for those two guys to meet each other, sit down with each other, face to face, mano y mano, hash the shit out to get the fight made, what does Deontay Wilder do? He announces that he is going to be having the proposed rematch that nobody was asking for with Luis Ortiz, which is rumored to be going down in September in Los Angeles, California, wherever the fuck the fucking thing is. Somewhere over there on the West Coast. Who really gives a fuck?
I don't.
Now, I didn't want to talk about this guy anymore. I don't want to talk about Deontay Wilder anymore. I've said it in several videos already. He does not deserve the attention. He does not deserve the exposure to the boxing community from the boxing fans. He don't deserve the attention because he's not doing anything to get attention so much as coattailing the energy around the fight with Anthony Joshua
The king!
to draw attention for his own fights. You know, that's all he's doing. He's still stalling. I've said it in numerous videos already. He's still stalling. He's doing everything I expected him to do, and there's not much new ground to cover here. Oh, I could talk about how, you know, let's see what the guys get paid for this fight. Let's see. You know, Deontay Wilder's last purse, you know, there seemed to have been a gag order on that thing where his purse for the Fury fight and his purse for the first Ortiz fight was reported. In his last fight, his purse wasn't reported. It's almost like somebody didn't want you to know what he was making. So now I'm wondering, Luis Ortiz having turned down, or at least his team, whoever, because that's the fucking story. Whether or not you believe it is up to you. His team fucked up the fight for him. But they turned down $7 million to fight Anthony Joshua.
You know, a lot of fans are asking as well to get his side as to why he said no to the Joshua fight. Can you give us a comment on that?
He wanted the Wilder fight.
Joshua's a pussy.
He wanted.
Well, if he's so fucking pussy, why you ain't fight him then? You accepted less money to fight Deontay Wilder than Anthony Joshua offered you what? You could fight Deontay Wilder for $500,000, but you can't fight Anthony Joshua for $6-7 million because he's so pussy? Get the fuck out of here. Who do you expect to believe that line of bullshit? And who do you expect to be excited for a rematch that wasn't nobody even asking for?
Fuck that fight.
So I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are going to be paying close attention to just what exactly does Luis Ortiz stand to make from a Wilder rematch that he wouldn't have made fighting Anthony Joshua. You said you'd be willing to step in if Miller didn't work out, and guess what? Miller didn't work out. They made you a sizable offer for far more money than you made fighting Deontay Wilder. So now that all that shit has happened, and now you're having a rematch with Wilder, a lot of people are going to be paying close attention to what Luis Ortiz stands to make. And whatever he makes,
Whatever it is,
at least to those people, that's what's going to determine who's really the pussy here. Because, hey, I'm not in the business of calling professional fighters pussies. That's that entire narrative is not coming from me. That is a narrative that was set by Luis Ortiz when he characterized Anthony Joshua as being a pussy. But Anthony Joshua offered you a lot of fucking money to fight, and your team turned it down. So if you accept less money to fight someone else where you could have made more money fighting the guy that's quote unquote a pussy, well, that don't reflect too good on you. Some people might say that makes you a pussy. Hey. It's not my narrative, that's how people are going to react to it. Whether you like it or not, people are watching these events unfold, and they have their opinions on them. And, you can control your own life, your own mind, and your own words, but what you can't control is how people react to things. And to a lot of people, if they catch wind that Luis Ortiz has accepted a Wilder rematch for less money than he would have made with Anthony Joshua, a lot of people are going to think, yeah, Luis Ortiz is a chicken shit. That's what they're going to say. Hey, you don't got to like it. But that is what they're going to think. And it's because Luis Ortiz gave them that ammunition. You talked all that shit about Anthony Joshua. He's scared. He's protected. He doesn't fight. Whatever, whatever. All this stuff came from Luis Ortiz. But when it came down to the come down and they made you a bigger offer for more money than you've ever made, and you're in your fucking 40s.
You're old.
When they made you an offer, a bigger offer for anything you think that you've ever made so far, including what you made with Deontay Wilder, when it came time to put up or shut up, your team shut it up.
The fuck
they walked
up.
away and admitted, remember, it was Luis Ortiz's team that admitted they dropped the ball. Now, for those of you that follow this channel, you'll know that this is more or less what I thought was going to happen, what I predicted. That, the people over there at the PBC, they're not going to let Luis Ortiz accept an offer from Anthony Joshua because what they want to do is keep Ortiz on standby for their star player, Deontay Wilder. They don't want to, even if it comes at the cost of Luis Ortiz, the fighter, and his family, and their future, because the offer made to him was a multi-million-dollar offer to fight at a historic venue in front of a lot of fucking people. But in spite of all of that, the big wigs at the PBC, they don't fucking care, because what they want is for Ortiz to be on standby to keep Wilder busy. Why do they want to keep Wilder busy? They want to raise his profile as much as they can with whoever they can before they go into a Joshua fight, if they go into one at all. That essentially the PBC fucked up a big payday, what could have been a big payday for Luis Ortiz, and they did it, not for the betterment of Luis Ortiz so much as to accommodate Deontay Wilder. They'll fuck up something that he could have did. They'll fuck up something Ortiz could have did so that he can remain an option.
Just an option.
For Deontay Wilder. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. What's going on is both Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz are willing to keep busy making fights for less money. And bear in mind that these are prize fighters. They fight for fucking prizes, But they rather fight for less money than fight Anthony Joshua for more money. So you make up your own fucking mind what you think of them. But that is what's going on. Because Deontay Wilder is under no obligation to fight Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz ain't no motherfucking mandatory. Wilder had one fucking mandatory, and he already took care of that. And if you want to be real, the moment the Tyson Fury rematch broke down, the second that all fell apart, Wilder could have chose to fight Anthony Joshua right then and there. That's a unification fight. It trumps a mandatory. WBC wouldn't have stood in the way of that. They know what kind of sanctioning fees they could get for a fight like that. If Wilder really wanted some problems, if he really wanted some smoke with Anthony Joshua, he wouldn't even, fuck a fucking Ortiz rematch and fuck a Brazil fight. He could have fucking walked into an Anthony Joshua fight. But once again, I reiterate, he does not want that fight, and his team do not want that fight for him yet, if at all. If at all, because they seem content making money with other people now that he's gotten a slight profile boost. His marquee value, it really hasn't changed much. His marquee value meaning his ability to generate money. His ability to generate money with ticket sales or viewership. That really hasn't changed much. But, his profile has gotten a little bit of a boost. There are more people talking about him, and what they're hoping is that all those different people that are talking about him and his profile getting a boost will translate into more dollars. Now, we've seen what the ticket sales were for the Brazil fight, and we've seen what the viewership was. So in terms of, the actual dollars and cents of it, just generating revenue to some capacity, well, that hasn't changed much. So there's more work needs doing, hence a Luis Ortiz rematch. A rematch that nobody was asking for.
Nobody!
Naturally, Deontay Wilder's sycophants, his pom-pom waving army of 40-year-old men and weirdos, they're trying to justify this move. They're trying to make this seem like something that it's not, which is something that they often do with Deontay Wilder. Just trying to, put a smoke screen over everything. Try to make you see things through a filter instead of seeing them for what they are. These guys are mentally ill enough that they'll pretend that they're excited about this fight, even though I'm pretty sure if they're anything, it's relieved. Not excited so much as relieved. They're relieved that Deontay Wilder is not going to be subject to criticism, or at least they think he won't be. They think he won't be, because he's got a fight booked. He can't fight Anthony Joshua now. He's fighting Ortiz. They already, that fight is done. He's already done contract. So, if anything, they're breathing a sigh of relief. But as far as excitement goes and generating that, I don't even think those fucking guys are excited about that. He beat Ortiz already. Whatever air there was around Luis Ortiz, it has all but been dispelled. He is not the boogeyman of the division. What he is a guy who got offered $7 million to fight Anthony Joshua, and he turned it down, or his team did. So he ain't no fucking boogeyman. And you already lost to Wilder. We already saw that. So, I mean, how excited are we supposed to be for a repeat, a rerun? But these guys will pretend they're excited. That's what they do. You know, their whole motivation behind vigorously trying to make Deontay Wilder out to be something that he's not. The whole motivation for that is some, you know, proximity shit. Oh, you know, he's from the same place as me, and I identify with him, and, you know, all this stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, I wouldn't support any chump-ass shit from a foreigner any more than I'd support some chump-ass shit from an American. You understand?
He's still a chump.
You being from the same country as me don't change that what you're doing is some chump-ass, punk-ass, bitch-ass type shit. I mean, in all seriousness. So, supporting him so vigorously on the premise that you're either from the same country or you're the same race, that shit don't change what's going on. I wouldn't support some herb-ass shit from somebody over here any more than I would support some herb-ass shit from somebody that's over there. And that's what's going on. Some herb-ass shit. In all honesty,
Anything can happen.
boxing is a sport where anything can happen. It can all look a certain way before the fight, but when the fight goes down, it can work out entirely different than what you thought. You understand? So in that way, you have to entertain the possibility that maybe Wilder could beat Joshua, maybe he could. But we'll never know if he don't fight the motherfucker. And that's, you know, coincidentally, that's what he's not doing. He's not fighting. The Wilder's fans, they're perfectly okay with this. They take no issue with him deliberately stalling this fight that they used to want, but now they don't. You know, they fall in line with whatever he says and whatever he does. Universal law. Birds of a feather flock together. So if sucker-ass shit that Deontay Wilder does appeals to you, that's because you're a sucker, too. It's the only way to explain it. I can't get behind that shit. I think he's making us look bad as a country. You know, this country has produced some of the greatest heavyweight fighters the sport has ever known. But Deontay Wilder's recent actions, well, no, that's not in keeping with the Larry Holmeses of the division. You know, Larry Holmes, he jumped over a car to leg drop Trevor Berbick. Muhammad Ali, there wasn't a great fighter in his era that he didn't fight, win or lose. Deontay Wilder is not in keeping with the legacy, the history of those kinds of heavyweights, okay? You're telling me you've been around for 11 years, 42 professional fights, and your crowning achievement is a guy who was on high blood pressure medication the night of the fight? A guy who the New York State Athletic Commission was considering not allowing him to fight because he had high blood pressure. This is the crowning achievement of your 11 years? The fuck? You know, you get a lot of guys, they like to bring up the name of Tyson Fury, but here's a fucking newsflash. He didn't beat Tyson Fury, so that's not a crowning achievement. The fight was labeled a draw. And quite honestly, there are a lot of people out there that, you know what, they don't even think it was a draw. They think Fury beat that guy. So, I mean, that's no crowning achievement. There are people out there that are okay with the sucker tactics, the sucker moves of Deontay Wilder. And I'll reiterate, if sucker shit that Deontay Wilder do appeals to you, that's because you're a sucker too. And no amount of propaganda and fanboy-driven videos on YouTube is gonna change that. I mean, these guys, and I mean this when I say this, they are mentally fucking ill. Take a look at this specimen.
We keep hearing about these 80,000 people arena. The number of the people are not what you count, okay? You don't count the people, you count the money. You guys are counting the wrong thing. You keep counting the people. When they're going over the numbers, they're talking about the numbers. They're counting the money, okay? In Vegas, 17,000 people is a lot less than 90,000 people at Wembley. You are 100% correct about that when you say that. But I am correct when I say that a $70 million gate is $60 million more than a $10 million gate.
Now let me say that this man is out of his fucking mind. I mean, in all seriousness, this man is a psychopath. When the fuck has Deontay Wilder ever drew in $70 million at the gate? When does that ever happen? He can't be talking about the Tyson Fury fight. He can't be talking about that because, you know,
Just crunch the numbers.
reportedly, there were about 17,000 people in attendance, maybe a little over that. But when you apply the math, $70 million divided by 17,000 people would have to mean that the going rate for a ticket was $4,000. Guy's out of his fucking mind. And you know what? You'd have to be. You'd have to have already lost the plot. Seriously, it seems to me that Deontay Wilder's fans heavily rely on smoke screens and conjecture and the overall stupidity of their subscribers, because you know you could do the math for this thing on a fucking napkin and see that this $70 million, seriously?
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my gosh, stop fucking lying.
These guys, they see the same numbers that me and you see. They see the same viewership numbers, the same ticket sales that me and you see, but they can't accept reality, so they have to cook up one of their own. A parallel universe where Deontay Wilder's drawing $70 million at the gate. And that's how hard it is for them to cope with the fact that, you know, someone that they look up to, someone that they idolize, someone that they identify with, is viewed by many as a sucker, a chump, a greedy, self-entitled crybaby who really doesn't even want that fight. He's just pricing himself out so he doesn't have to have it. I mean, they can't deal with that because they identify with that guy. As I said before, if sucker shit that Deontay Wilder do appeals to you, it's because you're a sucker too. So rather than dealing with the realities of that, or urging their man on, and if you really believe in Deontay Wilder and you really believe that he can win that fight, instead of enabling him to keep stalling, why don't you apply some pressure for him to have that fight? You think he can win, right? So what's the fucking problem? Rather than doing that, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna try to spin it. They're gonna try to bend reality in the hopes that people are too fucking stupid to do their own independent research and crunch up the numbers themselves. Well, like, what do you think? We're all morons? Or is it that your subscribers are fucking morons and you play on that because you know that those guys don't know their way around a calculator, even though there's one in their phone where they watch your dumbass fucking videos?
You're not giving estimates. Nobody's giving estimates about Deontay Wilder. You're giving actual factual numbers. So why can't you do that for Joshua? Why when it comes to Joshua, it's, oh, he's estimated to make about this. It's an estimate, he's making so much. But with Deontay Wilder, oh no, we know he's making this. This is what he's making. You have factual numbers for Wilder. But when Anthony Joshua is all estimations, and none of you guys can explain it. None of you can say it. Your cliche thing is, well, when we all know that he's making, no, we all don't know this. No, we don't. No, we don't. We don't. And I'm asking you, I challenge you to show me.
You know that Wilder's fans are just as erratic and contradictory as he is? Because this guy doesn't seem to believe that Anthony Joshua is making the kind of money that he's reportedly making. He doesn't believe that, and he just so happens to be one of Wilder's fans. And yet it's Wilder's fans who were insistent that Anthony Joshua would give Luis Ortiz $10 million. Well, hold the fuck up. If you don't believe that Anthony Joshua is making the kind of money that he's reportedly making, if you don't believe that, then why are you expecting him to give Luis Ortiz $10 million? Why do you expect him to pay Luis Ortiz more than Deontay Wilder paid him? But, you know, several times over. In a nutshell, a lot hasn't changed about this situation. This is just a refresher course on the contradictory nature of Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz, and the morons that comprise their fan base.
Oh my God! Wow!